Welcome to Fierce Encouragement. This is the podcast where we tackle life's struggles with boldness, wisdom, and some practical tools. Now, my name is Mark Walker. I'm a life coach. I'm a meditation instructor. I'm also your guide to navigating the messy middle between where you are and where you want to be. So here at Fierce Encouragement, we blend modern science and timeless wisdom to help you master your own mindset, to cultivate that inner balance in your life, and also to take those courageous steps towards your goals and projects. So whether you're a leader, a new leader, maybe a learner, or just somebody who's ready for some change, well, this is your space for some real talk and some powerful insights and some fierce encouragement to help you live with purpose and confidence. Thanks for being here. Thanks again. This is Mark. I appreciate your time. This is Fierce Encouragement, episode 20. 20 episodes in. And this one I think I'm going to call The Power of Saying No. The Power of Saying No. And to begin our episode, our 20th episode, I'd like to share a quote from Maya Angelou, one of my favorite poets and authors. Without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can be anything erratically. Kind, fair, true, generous, all that. But to be that thing time after time, you need courage. So this kind of call, again, that's Maya Angelou. This calls back to the first episode we did last year, and talking about how courage is the heart, kind of like that etymology of the word, that meaning of the word, meaning the heart or the heartbeat of all the virtues. It's really hard to show up and work on our relationships of love in a loving way. It's really hard to be curious instead of critical with ourselves, and a bunch of other things. It's really hard to be grateful when we don't have courage to step into that gap where we get that choice. That moment we get to say, well, I don't like this. And there's another moment where we can step in there and put a tool or method into place and really work on being courageous. Like, how can I just be more curious in this moment? I think that takes courage. That's why I started Fierce Encouragement, trying to get down to the roots, remembering that courage is the heart of our virtues. And we want to live intentionally, virtuously, and really acknowledge the chance we get in our one brief life. And so to introduce today's episode, I just want to acknowledge that common fear that comes up in our work, in our relationships, is that inability to say no. I hear it when I talk to people about coaching during conversations, or when I try to connect with people and hear what problems they have in their life. So in my line of work, people will often tell me, hey, I'd love to work with you, Mark, but I just need to think it over. I just need to think about it a little bit more. And great, but I'm not sure if you're familiar with the data on that, but 9 times out of 10, that means that the person has an objection and probably wants to say no, but they're having a deeper fear about saying no to somebody and kind of having that rejection and being known for saying no. I do it in my sales relationships when I'm out there being proposed to as a client, and I know that my clients or the people I end up working with often go through that. We need to ask ourselves if we need to think about it more, and sometimes it's warranted. But this connects to that deeper fear that we might have about saying no in our lives and how it impacts our lives. I think my own personal method of saying no is a struggle. I had to go through many iterations of saying no to my current coach and observe how I showed up and often kind of failed. Saying no doesn't mean that we're rejecting the help or rejecting the wisdom that the person has. Maybe it's just not a good time. Maybe we're just in a different growth area right now. I've often heard it say, and maybe you have too, that the teacher shows up when the challenge is there for you. So sometimes the teacher comes in different forms, not just a teacher or a professor, but sometimes in the form of a relationship. Sometimes with a child. I know my children's arrival in my life over 20 years ago meant a big change in my life, learning about sacrifice, learning about how to value quiet time, and really to kind of that constriction or that limitation on my life with my children, having just enough time to work on myself really made that time valuable. So when I had that hour to read or do some things for myself, I made sure to do that and value it. And it was great to learn about those inner wisdoms that kids afford you, that learning about patience, learning about true sacrifice, learning how to step back from a situation and ask if I can be the adult in the room. Sometimes that is a really hard practice, especially when we haven't had to do that for much of our life. But I think saying no is a form of self-respect. I think it creates healthy boundaries. Sometimes it's between work and life, especially with our on-demand work at home life. I think exploring how to say no creates very healthy boundaries for that work-life balance, for things like food and not eating after a certain point. Creating those boundaries or those protocols is really helpful. It helps us make it a priority to take care of our mind and our physical body. When we emphasize that no or saying no isn't about rejection, it's more about protecting what really matters to you. You're probably very familiar. I'm not sure if you're like me, but I can come up with a 20-thing to-do list every day. It's just a fact that those things aren't going to get all done. I'm always better at thinking about more things to do than prioritizing. So prioritizing what really matters, protecting what really matters, and saying no to things, even from your own internal to-do list, is a really healthy thing to get used to and get good at. I would like to share a tool for creating those healthy boundaries and just take a couple minutes and talk about that. When we practice creating healthy boundaries, not just in our external relationships, but in our own projects and in our own aspirations inside, I think it can help us deal with that over-planning, that overstimulation, that overcommitment that, again, I'm really good at. And then we start failing repeatedly, and then we kind of give up. So seeing this habit of over-planning, over-helping, over-committing, we could stop and ask ourselves in one moment. So this can happen through journaling. It can happen right when we feel that anxiety where we're not getting things done, maybe in the early afternoon or whenever you're listening to this. Ask yourself, where can I say no to create more space for what matters right now? Where can I say no to create more space for what matters now, this afternoon, or this morning? I really encourage you to see saying no as a gift to yourself instead of a detriment. When we say no to ourselves and others and create boundaries and limitations, it really helps us go towards those things that matter. A tool for creating healthy boundaries, asking ourselves, what can I say no to right now to create space for what matters? I really encourage you to use this. See those opportunities to check in with yourself and ask what you really want from each moment of the day. It can be a heavy process when you first start to get out of that momentum towards choosing the easy or comfortable thing, the habit that we've kind of ingrained. But I really encourage you to see it as a gift to say no to more things in your life. That's where the biggest change comes in our life, is by saying no to more things that might not be adding the most impact into our lives. So finally, I really appreciate you hanging in with me here, trying to keep these episodes nice and short. I want to normalize saying no as a way to grow. I want to normalize saying no thank you as a way to stay balanced. And I want to normalize saying no to feel self-empowered. Whether that's just speaking up for yourself, kind of creating that pre-verbal contract with yourself, like it's okay to tell this person I don't need this right now. And I really challenge you as a listener, as somebody out in the world, to try saying no authentically this week. I want to thank you for your time. And as we finish up here today, I really just wanted to give a quick invite out to you. If you like what you're hearing today and it's fitting with what you want to work on, whether it's saying no or creating a strategic plan for the beginning of your year, I have space for a couple more clients this quarter. I really prioritize working with people one-on-one, creating a deep transformational experience for them, for myself and them. If this feels like the right time for you to step into more growth at this time and to get more clarity, I'd encourage you to check the show notes and apply today. I'd love to explore that with you. And I'll take a look personally at your questions and your answers, and I'll see if this is a right fit, and I'll get back to you. But thanks again for listening to Fierce Encouragement. Hey, no matter where you're at, you can always pause and take a moment to give yourself some encouragement. You're doing well. You're listening to great podcasts. You're out there doing the best work with your family and your job and taking care of your energy. So I really applaud you for checking this out. Thanks again. Take care wherever you're at. Have a good day, good night, and keep on practicing saying no authentically this week. Okay, bye-bye.